Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, I'm so glad you found me. Today I am sharing with you 3 easy, super inexpensive meals that are friendly to the summer season that I fed my family this week, so stay tuned. Okay, you guys, a few months back, I made a couple of $3 dinner videos. This is where I attempted to spend just $10 on ingredients that would make 3 meals for my family. These were pretty popular, and I did 2 from Walmart, and then I also did 1 from Aldi as well. Well, the past couple of weeks have been so busy, just off the wall busy, that I've let the grocery budget get away from us just a little bit because we have just purchased some convenience meals. We've eaten out a little bit. We've just run into the grocery store and grabbed a few things to get us through 1 or 2 days at a time. So now that things have settled down just a little bit, I've decided that I kind of need to rein in my grocery budget just a tad. So I challenged myself to come up with some meals that I could feed my family that would be really inexpensive with ingredients that are available right now during the summertime. So I ran into Walmart yesterday and I got some things to make some meals for my family. They had some really great summer produce deals, and I was able to come up with ingredients for 3 dinners for my family for just about $13 and some change. So it's not quite a $3 dinner video, it's more like a $4 dinner video, but that's still a pretty good deal, and I feel like it is inspiring me to kind of get back in the groove where my grocery budget and where cooking is concerned and preparing meals at home for my family. I will be using just a few things from my home kitchen, some, spices and seasonings and stuff like that, just very basic stuff, and I will let you guys know about that as we go along. But first, let me jump into the grocery haul. I will show you what I purchased at Walmart and how much I paid for it, and then we will jump into the meals that I made for my family. Here is my little haul from Walmart, and believe it, with everything that you see here, plus a few seasonings from my pantry, I'm going to be able to get 3 meals for my family this week. Produce is plentiful this time of year. It is summer. I did pick up a bag of carrots, 1 zucchini, 1 jalapeno, and you guys, jalapenos are so cheap. This jalapeno was 7 cents. I got 2 little Roma tomatoes, 1 lemon, 1 red onion, and corn was so inexpensive. It was 25 cents an ear in my grocery store. I realized that that's regional. This is probably locally grown for us. I did get a bag of sweet peppers, and this was the most expensive item in my entire haul. It was $2.88, but I wanted it for multiple meals, so I went ahead and splurged on that. I did also get some meat for this meal plan. I got some pork sausage, and I also got some sour cream I'm going to use to make kind of like a dressing to go along with a couple of the meals. 1 bag of rice, 1 can of black beans. The no salt added are the same price as the regular ones, so I got those. A can of pineapple. I would have done fresh, but they didn't have any fresh pineapple, so I just got a can of pineapple. And then 1 package of this Great Value garden rotini, and I picked up the garden rotini because it actually had 1 more gram of protein than is typically in a serving of pasta. So it's 8 grams of protein per serving, 2 grams of fiber. There you have it. There's my little grocery haul. And here is my receipt. I spent $12.77 before tax. $1.09 of tax brought my total to $13.86. So it's not quite $3 dinners like I've done before. Again, I splurged on the peppers. If I did a different vegetable, I probably could have come in at, a $3 dinner. So it's gonna be more like a $4 dinner, $4 and some change to feed my family, especially when I'm considering all of the produce that I am getting in these dinners. That is a pretty fantastic deal. And don't forget, you guys, to scan your receipts into your Fetch Rewards app. I already have enough reward points in my Fetch Rewards app to trade in for a gift card that I'm going to use to get my husband a nice Father's Day gift. If you don't have Fetch Rewards, I will leave my link in the description box. It's always down there, so you can follow that and check it out. Tonight for dinner, I'm making just a very simple kind of pasta primavera type dish with just a little bit of sausage added to it. So I cooked my whole box of pasta to al dente, and half of it I'm going to use in another recipe. I'm just going to use half of it tonight. I did set aside a little bit of the starchy pasta water for this recipe. I also cooked my sausage and set aside half of it for another recipe. I also chopped up some vegetables, about 1/3 of my red onion, about half of my peppers, my zucchini. In addition to those ingredients, I used some olive oil, some Italian seasoning, and salt and pepper, and a little bit of garlic. So after my sausage was cooked and I set aside half of it, I added the onions and the carrots and also a little bit of that starchy pasta water, and I let them cook on their own for about 5 minutes because those are the vegetables that take the longest. And then I added the seasonings, about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, a generous amount of salt and pepper. You can add whatever you like to taste. And I also added a little bit of olive oil, and then I added my peppers as well, and I let those cook together for about 3 to 4 minutes. And now I have just added my zucchini to that because it takes the least amount of time to cook. And once that is finished, I will add my pasta back in and I will just give it all a good stir and it will be ready to eat. And I gotta tell you, it already smells amazing. I think just that little bit of sausage is gonna give it like a really nice flavor. And normally you would serve this with like a little bit of Parmesan on top. I didn't buy Parmesan because it was gonna bust my budget, but if you have it, that would add to it. In my opinion, it's not necessary with a pasta primavera like it would be in an Alfredo sauce or an eggplant parm or chicken parm where you really need it to make the dish. In this case, it's really just a garnish, so I decided I could live without it. Now, I debated whether or not instead of using sausage to use chickpeas and maybe drain them, roast them for a little bit and use that as a protein source in this dish, but I decided to go with the sausage because I wanted it with another dish and because I felt like my family was more likely to eat that, but there's another option for you if you didn't want to use the meat. Okay, here it is, you guys. I think this looks really pretty. It's got all the colors in there. I wish I could have gotten more red peppers in my little mini pepper bag, but it was mostly orange and yellow, but it looks fantastic. It smells fantastic, and I just tasted this and it is really, really good. A little bit of Parmesan would have definitely sent it over the top, but it is really flavorful without it. So I'm very, very pleased with how this turned out. So for this video, as I've stated, I am using some things that I already have on hand, and sometimes I get comments about that. You guys are usually really great about, hey Mindy, stop with all the disclaimers. It's your videos and you can do what you want. Whenever I'm making these videos that require a lot of cooking, I'm kind of the mindset that the sort of person who's watching this video is likely somebody who cooks. It's likely somebody who has a stove, who has a kitchen, who has prepared or cooked food before. And if it is that kind of person, then they are also likely to have just some basic staples where seasonings are concerned. Like they're probably gonna have vinegar and some kind of oil and, you know, a little bit of a spice cabinet built up. Maybe nothing extravagant. I don't think that I use really extravagant spices, but that's why with these kinds of videos, I don't sweat buying every single ingredient, because I feel like this is geared more towards people who are already kind of used to cooking and preparing food and will likely have some of these things. So that's just how I feel about that. Okay, so I'm actually making tomorrow's dinner tonight as well because it's a tacos pasta salad, and I feel like pasta salads taste better on the second day after all of the ingredients can kind of mingle and marinate together. So in my bowl, I have the rest of my cooked pasta, so half a box of pasta cooked. I have my can of black beans, which I drained and rinsed. I have my tomatoes, which I chopped, a third of my red onion, which I chopped, and my 2 ears of corn on the cob I cooked on the stove. I just dropped those into boiling water for about 10 minutes, and then I cut the corn off of the cob, so it's in here as well. And to dress this, I made kind of like a Southwest taco style, you know, ranch, I guess you could call it, with the sour cream and with some homemade taco seasoning. Now, if you want to know how I make this, there is a video in the description box. It's always in the description box with my recipe. Basically, if you have chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, paprika, salt and pepper, that's basically it. You can make taco seasoning, but if you don't want to make it, you can buy it at my Walmart. It is 30 cents for a package of taco seasoning, so you could just pick that up. So I put about a tablespoon of that in here, and also I put in half of my jalapeno. So I just cut it in half and took the seeds out, and I put it in here. You absolutely could just make this in a bowl. Just chop up your jalapeno really, really tiny and add the seasoning and the sour cream, and then I put about 1 to 2 tablespoons of water in it to thin it out. You could just stir that all together if you wanted to. I just put it into my little blender cup because I thought it would be easier. So I just blended that all up. And now I'm just going to pour that over the top. I'm gonna save just a little bit of this for the last dinner that I intend to make because I think it will go well with that as well. I don't need very much, just a little bit. But I'm just gonna put about 2/3 of what I made here over the top, give it a toss, and I'll put it in the refrigerator until we are ready to eat it tomorrow. Tonight I am making a rice dish that is sort of like tropical inspired. I found this recipe on a website called aspicyperspective.com. I'll leave it linked in the description box below, that is making something called confetti rice. And so I'm sort of going off of that, but I'm making lots of adjustments and substitutions according to what I have. But that was sort of my inspiration for this dish. So let's dive into it and I'll show you how I'm making that and we'll see how it turns out. I am starting by getting my rice cooking on the stove, and I'm actually going to use the juice from the pineapple when I'm cooking it. So I went ahead and opened up my can of pineapple and I just drained all the juice out as best I could. It actually came out to about 1 cup of pineapple juice. So I poured that into my pan along with 1.5 cups of water, and I seasoned it with a little bit of salt. You can season it however you like. And then I brought that to a boil and added 1.5 cups of my rice that I purchased. I always let mine boil for about 10 minutes or so, and then I turn the heat completely off, but I leave the lid on, and it will finish cooking by steaming in the hot pot. And my rice always turns out really, really great whenever I cook it this way. I know I have a gas stove, so the heat is actually completely off whenever I turn it off as opposed to an electric stove, but this is the way that I cook rice, and it turns out the way that I like it every time. And these are some of the extra seasonings that I'm using: just salt and pepper and oil, a little bit of garlic, and some red pepper flake. And I'm using some that I have sitting just in my kitchen that are left over from like pizza trips that we've made. I'm gonna prepare my vegetables now. That's where the name for this confetti rice comes from, is that you have little pieces of colorful vegetables in the rice, or at least I assume that's what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of my carrots. I think I had 3 carrots left from my bag, but I'm actually shaving them so that they're really thin so that they'll cook as quick as the other vegetables that I'm using in this dish. And then I'm just chopping up into little pieces the rest of my bell peppers from that bag, and I'm also gonna use up the rest of my red onion. I think this is another one of those dishes where you could use lots of different combinations of vegetables and, you know, just make a really hearty, veggie-filled dish based on whatever you have hanging out in your refrigerator. But I'm getting all of those chopped up, and like I said, I'm chopping up the vegetables pretty small, and I shaved the carrots pretty thin so that they will cook, and so that they will cook evenly. Now I have my sausage that was left from the other meal. Remember, I saved half of it. I put that back in my pan and heated it up so that it renders some oil, but I did add a little bit of olive oil to that as well. And then in go my red onions and my peppers and my carrots. I'm gonna go ahead and season those with a little bit more salt and pepper, and of course my little package of red pepper flakes. I wish I'd used 2 packages instead of just 1, but I didn't want to make it too spicy for my kids. I mean, it already was gonna have a little bit of jalapeno, which you'll see here at the end, but I use these little packets all the time. I save them. Are you guys people who save your little restaurant packets whenever you get seasonings or sauces? Because I do, and it comes in handy. So I chopped up my pineapple into small pieces. I minced a few cloves of garlic, and I also chopped up my other half of my jalapeno that I saved from the other night. Once my veggies have cooked together for about 5 minutes, I added my rice. Again, just a smidge of olive oil and salt and pepper. You can season this to your taste. And then I added my pineapple, my garlic, and my jalapeno, and I just gave that a little bit of a stir. My heat is still on the stove, so it's almost like these are sauteing together just for a couple more minutes. And then it's done. It is ready to serve. And I know that the protein police might come after me for this because there's not a ton of protein in this dish, but you guys, I gotta be honest, it's 97 degrees here right now with heat index over 100, and a big old slab of meat or a big cheesy saucy dish is just not something that sounds that great. If you want to add some protein to it, you absolutely can add some beans, some chickpeas, some shredded chicken, whatever you like, but this really hit the spot. I would say that this was my least favorite meal of the 3 that I made, but it was still pretty good and a good way to use up vegetables. And I put a little bit of that kind of taco sour cream sauce that I made for the other dish on top of mine as well. But there you have it. There's some ideas, some inexpensive meals that I made this week for my family using some summer produce, things that are available, at least in our area right now, and are very affordable. So I hope this gives you some ideas and some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be sure to check in with another video very soon. Bye.